Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees for the Village of Burr Ridge. It is August 22nd. Our first order of business, of course, is the Pledge of Allegiance. Unfortunately, we're unable to have a student lead us, but if you'd like to join us, stand up and say Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Karen, may I have roll call, please?
Trustee Francis.
Here.
Trustee Grasso.
Here.
Trustee Paveza.
Here.
Trustee Bolus.
Here.
Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Trustee Schiappa.
Here.
Mayor Stroud.
Here. Are there any residents who would like to address the board at this time? Seeing no one, move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event that item will be removed. Under minutes, we have 5A, approval of regular board meeting of August 8th, 2016. 5B, receive and file draft stormwater committee meeting of July 28th, 2016. And 5C, receive and file draft plan commission meeting of August 15th, 2016. Nothing on our ordinances or resolutions. Under considerations, we have 8C, approval of plan commission recommendation to approve a variation from the zoning ordinance to permit the addition of rooftop mechanical equipment without the required rooftop screening. Removed. Okay. Who said remove?
Mark Toma.
Mark Toma. Okay, we have 8D, approval of plan commission recommendation to approve a minor amendment to the Spectrum Senior Living PUD to permit the addition of carports over resident parking spaces. That's for Spectrum Senior Living. Under 8E, we have approval of plan commission recommendation to approve a request for private sanitary sewer system for a new home as per section 4L of the zoning ordinance, PCO 6/2016, located at 7785 Wolf Road. 8F, approval request from the Plan Commission to hold a public hearing to consider amendments to the zoning ordinance regarding front yard walls and monuments, PCO 8/2016. 8H, approval of vendor list in the amount of $688,094.91 for all funds, plus $205,044.91 for payroll, for a grand total of $893,139.82, which includes special expenditures of $16,000 to BKD LLP for fiscal year 15-16 audit progress billing, $26,872.65 to Brothers Asphalt Paving for payment number 2 on the 2016 MFT or motor fuel tax road program, and $52,925 to Virtual Computing Systems for computer server hardware upgrade. May I have a motion to accept the following items on the consent agenda? That would be 5A, B, and C, 8, D, E, F, and G.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Schiappa.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Bolus.
Yes.
Trustee Paveza.
Yes.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
6-0.
Those items pass 6-0. On to considerations. Steve?
Doug is here to provide information regarding the zoning, or the Plan Commission's recommendation regarding the running store, fitness apparel store with sale of craft beer or wine.
Thank you. The Plan Commission is recommending approval of a request to add running store, fitness apparel store with sales of craft beer or wine to the list of special uses in the B2 district and in the Village Center Planned Unit Development Ordinance, and are requesting approval of a special use as per the amended ordinance to permit such a business at 580 Village Center Drive. The proposed athletic shoe and apparel store would occupy approximately 6,000 square feet at 580 Village Center, 2,000 square feet at 580 Village Center Drive. It is primarily an apparel store selling running shoes and related athletic apparel, which is a permitted use in the first floor of retail buildings in the Village Center. However, they also would like to sell individual servings of beer and wine for consumption in the store, and that is not currently permitted in the B2 district or in the Village Center PUD. Petitioner testified that the primary sales would be the shoe store and athletic store, that perhaps it's no more than 5% of the business would be the individual sales of beer and wine. There have indicated that it's primarily for the benefit of running clubs and customers attending events at the stores, such as when sales representatives from the shoe companies come for demonstrations. Although they did indicate that individual customers during normal store hours would also be able to purchase individual glasses of beer and wine, again, only for consumption on site. They testified at the public hearing that the hours of operation would be the same as other retail stores in the Village Center, not the late hours that restaurants are allowed to have. And those hours are typically 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. The area that would be dedicated for beer and wine sales would be a small countertop in the back of the store. The 4 bar stools taking approximately 120 square feet of the 2,000 plus square foot store. The Plan Commission was split in its opinion on this request. 2 of the commissioners believed that this was not an appropriate concept for the Village Center, and they were concerned that other retail stores would request to do the same. The majority of the commissioners present, there were only 5 commissioners present at the meeting, accepted the concept, I think due to its very limited scope, and appreciated that this was an appropriate way to encourage more shopping and to support a small locally owned business. Based on that 3-2 vote, the Plan Commission does recommend approval of the amendments to the zoning ordinance and the Village Center PUD, an amendment of the special use for the property at 580 Village Center Drive, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the store comply with the floor plan, which limits the size of the food and beverage service area, a limit on the hours of operation to be the same as other retail stores in the Village Center, which is 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mondays through Saturdays, and 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. 3, that the use shall be limited to a running store, fitness apparel store with sales of craft beer and wine, and at no time shall there be sales of beer or wine without concurrent sales of fitness apparel. 4, that the establishment must provide the sale of prepackaged food such as cheese, meats, and crackers at all times that service of wine and beer is provided. And 5, the special use permit shall be limited to the petitioners and shall expire at such time that they no longer own or operate the business at 580 Village Center Drive. I'd be happy, Commissioner Stratus is here as the representative of the Plan Commission tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as well. I would also add that if this is approved, that when we come back with an ordinance, we would also come back with ordinances related to the liquor license that would be required for this business.
Board members, do you have questions of Doug?
Doug, this encompasses the entire B2 area now?
The amendment as recommended by the Plan Commission included adding this use as a special use in the B2 district only, which does not include County Line Square. That's B1 district. There's a handful of properties in the village besides the Village Center that are zoned B2.
Right. And as a special use, it has to come before the
Still-
commission every time.
Right.
Okay.
Questions? Trustee Francis?
I have some questions of Commissioner Stratus.
Good evening.
Good evening. Mike, could you please explain or reiterate the reasons some of the plan commissioners opposed this request.
Yeah, well, first of all, the applicants here tonight, I want to commend them. I thought they did an excellent job of presenting their petition and answering our questions. I'll convey to you what I conveyed to them, and that is, number one, I'm not sure that having beer and wine is going to move the needle on their sales, but I'm not in their business. But what I'm concerned about is the precedential value of approving something like this, and how is the community going to handle it when Joseph Banks and Sunglass Hut all come charging in saying, boy, that's a really cool idea. I want beer and wine too. So I struggled mightily with the idea that this is somehow a unique retail use that is harmonic with beer and wine sales. And just generally, I'm not a proponent of lots of liquor license, generally. I also had a problem with, while I was listening to my fellow commissioners ask questions, I did something I probably shouldn't have done, and that was I Google searched drinking alcohol after running. And one of the applicants' comments to our board was, we have running groups that come on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think it was, and they run and they socialize afterwards. They go to local bars, that's fine. But 9 out of 10 articles that came up on my Google search said it's a really bad idea to drink alcohol after running. And again, I sound like I'm taking a moral high position here, but I was trying to get my arms around how this could possibly be a good idea for them or for us. And I was unable to do so. And again, my last little nitbit is, I just can't understand or get my mind around the idea that, I could take my young nieces or young kids in there to buy shoes, and there could be people in the back laughing it up, drinking beer and wine. I couldn't get my arms around it. So, there was a difference on the board, and I think and I won't speak for Trustee Huza, but I think that was where we struggled with the idea, is how do we prevent opening Pandora's box, which is always one of the questions we ask on the Planning Commission. How do we rationalize giving them approval? We want them in the community, very much want them in the community, but this was just a little bit beyond the pale for me.
And what was the sentiment of those that were more for it? What reasons did they give?
That was my next question.
Doug, you can hop in here. I think that they weren't expressing the positives. They were asking questions, but they weren't kind of effusive with why they supported it. But I would be hypothesizing that, we all want to see the village center successful, and perhaps they balanced out the liquor component with, we want, occupancy is better than vacancy. And so we want to fill, and we want to be good. We want to work with the developer of our retail center and not be too persnickety. But again, I'm hypothecating. There wasn't a lot of conversation about that.
Any other questions of them?
No, thank you,
I have
Mike.
a question. Maybe I didn't hear you right. You were saying about, you researched and it's not good to have alcohol after running.
Right.
I might get this wrong. They don't do the running there. It's an apparel store, isn't it? How does their running fit in with having a beer or something after running rather than while looking for apparel?
Well, that's a separate part. People could go in there during the day outside of the context of being there for their running group, and they could order beer and wine. That's a separate issue than the social aspects, again, that the applicant brought up. And it was just, admittedly, it was a part of their business description, is that we also have running clubs that come, I think, again, on Tuesday and Thursday, and they socialize afterwards, which is great. I just had a hard time with the whole concept that we would have beer and wine sales in any retailer that wasn't a restaurant or traditional type venue. Even if there was, now I'm really lecturing here, but even if there was more of a connection, like an olive bar or something that was somehow related, but just the whole, if you're going to do tennis shoes and beer, that's a pretty low bar. Why wouldn't you do Joseph A. Banks and beer? Why wouldn't you do sunglasses and beer? Why wouldn't you do anything in beer? So these are decisions.
Well, how did they present this? I mean, is it a social club or is it just something that they can, while they're searching for their apparel, having a drink? How actually did it get presented?
Yeah, well, the applicant's here, they could answer, but my takeaway was, again, it's just something different. I'm in the retail business, so I get that you want some unique draw, something to differentiate yourself from Foot Locker. I get that. But again, it's, one of the questions that somebody asked was, well, why couldn't you, what would prevent your club from, or what would prevent them from just merely having a couple cases of beer and letting their running club drink them on premises if they're not selling them? Nothing. They could do that.
Right.
It's the sale that brings them into the jurisdiction. It's the sale of beer and wine.
Mike, did you get the impression?
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
Tony had a comment he wanted to add.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe I can shed a little bit of light on this. I started running a couple of years ago, training for marathons, and runners are very social people. We talk while we run. When we're done running, maybe it might be a long run or a short run, a lot of us will adjourn to a local restaurant or whatever to have a beer to continue the camaraderie amongst runners. Every competitive race I have entered in, we always get a little packet of stuff, and usually it's a running shirt, we get a running bib, we get a ticket for gear check, and then a beer ticket for after the race. So it's amongst the culture that after a long run, we can reward ourselves with a nice craft beer or craft glass of wine. And I know of clubs in the area that do run during the week. I know of a couple of them in Naperville, and they'll have clubs that run around, and then they'll finish their run with a drink at a bar in Naperville. So I think it's just part of the culture. It's promoting the camaraderie amongst the runners. I don't think I'll go there with any of my friends on a non-running night to go and enjoy a drink. I don't think any runner's going to run with a case of beer, go to the place and start passing beers out. So I can understand the concept that they're trying to promote. A lot of the runners that I run with buy a lot of stuff online, the running shoes, the running shirts. So this is just a niche to separate themselves and bring customers in to buy their shoes and stuff like that at the store, and providing that little edge, which I think is an interesting concept.
Trustee Bolus?
I understand your concept if you're a club and you all go out together afterwards. How do you prevent, maybe this is more for the petitioners, I don't want to buy shoes, but it's too crowded over here to have a glass of wine. How do you prevent people? Is it just for customers coming in?
Can I ask the petitioners to take Mike's place?
How do you prevent people from just congregating there who have no intention of purchasing?
You know, the main focus of our store.
I'm sorry, I need you also introduce yourself first and also where you live.
I'm Tiffany Cruikshank. I live 60th Street in Burr Ridge on County Line Road.
Mike Cruikshank, same address.
So our primary focus, I have peak running in Downers Grove. We do a phenomenal job with the customer experience. You walk in, whether you're new to running, you don't consider yourself a runner, you're intimidated to walk into the store, or you're a seasoned runner, or you're training for a marathon, or you're a walker, or you go to the gym. We make everybody feel comfortable. We go through the entire shoe fitting process, which is very technical. We've studied long and hard to provide the utmost, the best service we can. So that is our primary focus. We're experts on the apparel we carry. Very technical, winter running, summer running, reflective gear, as well as all of the accessories. So that, when you walk into peak running, is the feel. You are walking in to a run specialties shop. The bar in the back is going to be just a very, very subtle. Chances are most people really won't notice it. There's not going to be a neon light above it. It's going to blend in with the whole look and feel of the entire store. Plenty of merchandise between the front door and the back of the store where we'll have the taps. So it's not going to be like you're bringing your children into a bar. I said originally, it's going to be just as comfortable for a mom from Lifetime running in to grab, a new outfit and a pair of shoes after her workout with her toddlers in tow than it would be for after Run Club to come in, they do their run. I always have Gatorade or water or something that the runners grab first, and then the beer. So there's always that, naturally hydrating, healthy, but the beer will be a fun, integral part of the whole sense of building a community and enjoying the time together as well, but not the sole focus by any means.
You said you have a store in Downers Grove?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
running.
do they allow also?
I do not. It's not big enough for
Yeah.
that type to add the beers. But
So
And have you had other businesses that have done this? Other running stores? Or?
There have been a couple that have popped up across the country. One in Colorado. Can't really compare it because it's a completely different setting. It's much larger, and they've divided it into an actual bar, and on the other side of the Parisian is the shoe store. So the idea is out there. There's another one that has just started. I believe it's in South Carolina or North Carolina, and it's probably closer to the feel we want to have. But again, I really want to focus on my wheelhouse. What I do best is, the customer service and the shoe fitting, and the bar aspect is just that neat twist to get people to come in, and to experience something different, and really create that nice sense of community, like I said.
So you don't have to make a purchase in order to buy a beer?
No, but the beer and wine will only be available, while the store is open during the regular hours.
So someone can actually come in and just walk through the store and sit in the back for a while, and then you're going to shoo them away after a while?
Yeah, because again, our focus is not, it's not going to be a bar situation by any means. So, that will be very well monitored. And again, our focus would be the shoe fitting. So.
Just to add on, I think the word bar is probably overstated. I think this is the concept is just to be a unique entity that offers an adult an opportunity to have a beverage after an event. And I think, as Tony stated, that's really the purpose of this, is to create a social environment. And certainly, as I mentioned to the Plan Commission, in today's retail environment, you have to be creative, you have to be unique, you have to bring different things to the table in order to retain customers. Because if you don't, it can be very challenging to obviously create the revenue and bring people into your business because of online sales and so forth. So this is just an effort to be different in a controlled environment and have a very business that's very socially engaged with the community, which obviously will build more loyal customers and help the business grow. And 5% is certainly probably an overstatement, because if our total sales are 5% selling some beers, we're probably in trouble.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Trustee Grasso?
Well, we've been on the cutting edge with the new concept with the Starbucks when they decided that they'd serve wine in the evenings. And I think you can still get your hot chocolate and your coffees and stuff, so the kids can still come in with their parents and buy child-appropriate food and drink. So maybe this is another one of those nouveau concepts.
Trustee Beza?
When I first read about it, to me, it made no sense at all for an apparel store. But the more I thought about it, I had, like Trustee Grasso said, times are changing, attitudes are changing, and if they're willing to put the concept into place, and if the plan commission was for it, and we watch it, and if it functions fine, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Trustee Paveza? I'm sorry.
Mayor
Francis.
McKee, sorry.
I'm sorry,
I have
yeah,
a
you can't.
comment when you get a chance, if you guys can hear me.
Okay, let's go with Trustee Murphy.
I just was kind of thinking of how this equates to like Midtown Athletic Club, and I think Five Seasons as well. I mean, there's many athletic clubs out there that serve beer and wine, and the whole concept there is that you come in and you work out, and you want to stay so you can socialize with your friends. You work out, then maybe you go to the bar and you grab a beer or something and you hang out with your friends, making it more of an experience than just coming in and making a quick transaction. I don't have a problem with it at all. Being an avid runner and cyclist, I don't choose to partake in drinking alcohol, but I know a lot of people do. So I think, kind of equating it to Midtown Athletic Club or something like that, I think the concept makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Francis?
I had a question. You mentioned neon signs, and you wouldn't have a neon sign in the back. Would you have one in the store window?
I
I mean, a neon sign that advertises some form of alcoholic beverage?
No, I would not. No. And I don't think many other stores have the neon signs.
Stores don't, but
Yeah.
I can think of at least 3 restaurants.
Yeah.
La Cabanita, Dow, and County Wine Merchant, 2 restaurants and a storefront that have neon signs that promote some type of alcoholic beverage.
No, I wouldn't do that. There might be, again, with our urban rustic feel and the look of the store, a chalkboard in the back. Maybe, with the local
That'd be
brews.
okay. Would you be willing to add that as a condition? No neon?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want
window?
a neon Sapporo sign in the front of the.
A couple other things. I want to add to something that Trustee Schiappa said. My hockey teammates and I, after our games, we will tailgate and have a beer or 2, and I didn't realize it was bad for me. All these years.
You know what? Actually, it's got some electrolytes in there, so it's not that terrible.
Lots of complex carbohydrates, but
Yes.
I'll pass that along to my teammates.
You guys can bring the team in, and then you need super feed for those hockey skates.
So, and I agree. Thank you, Commissioner Stratus, for your comments and insight as to what transpired at the Plan Commission. And I certainly appreciate the concept of precedent setting. It's a dangerous line. Now we open this up to all B2 businesses. But on the other hand, I get comments from the residents about the uniqueness of the Village Center, the stores particularly, and how the stores there are the same stores that they see at Orland Square and the same stores that they see at Yorktown. So, and there's really nothing unique except for 1 or 2 instances. This would be certainly something unique and trend setting for the Village Center. So I'm glad to see that, because when the developer for the Village Center came before us on the Plan Commission, they promised unique shops and boutiques, and we didn't get that. We received the same store that's at Yorktown, the same stores that are at Orland, and that's constantly what I hear about comments from the residents, why they'll shop there because it's closer, but if they're in Orland, they'll shop at the same store. So, thank you. That's all comments I had.
Okay. Any other questions of petitioners? Trustee Grasso?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve or adding the running store, fitness apparel store with sales of craft beer or wine to the list of special uses in the B2 district and in the Village Center. And to approve a special use approval to permit said business at 580 Village Center Drive with the condition that there are no neon signs.
Plus all the conditions that were stated in the summary.
Plus all the conditions, yes, stated.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Grasso?
Yes?
Trustee Schiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Bolus?
Yes.
Trustee Paveza?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, 8A passes 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael and Tiffany. Okay, now we have under considerations 8B, consideration of request for mayor to attend Chief John Madden's FBI Academy graduation ceremony at Quantico Marine Headquarters in Quantico, Virginia on September 16th.
Yes, the mayor has asked to attend the FBI Academy graduation. This is the first time a sitting police chief in Burr Ridge has attended this class. Our former chief had already gone through it when he was in Winnetka, but this is the first time this has occurred. So this is kind of an important, big deal. I commend the mayor for wanting to support the chief and attending his graduation on September 16th. We priced out the cost of airfare and a night's stay at the in a hotel and transportation, and it would come in under $600. And as you know, the trustees, I think, get $250 a year, and the mayor gets $1,000 a year for travel expenses and things like that. And that money would be, would come out of that account. We do have a policy in place, and I've attached that policy that we've had for many years, that out-of-town type travel like this for any elected official would have to be approved in advance by the village board. So that's why it's on the agenda for tonight.
And just as an FYI, I'm not sure that I can go yet, but this is as a possibility. I have a conference in Las Vegas, Nevada that starts the same day. If I were to do it, I'd have to go east and then go west. I haven't figured out if I can do it yet, but I wanted to, because that's what it called for. We needed to get board approval first. So.
I saw the 200 reimbursement. There's a $1,000 reimbursement for the mayor in the policy? I missed that.
Yeah, it's been in place for a number of years. There's always $1,000 budgeted. And just like the trustees, most of the time the mayor doesn't spend that much money, but that's the amount that's in place.
Trustee Francis?
I don't see Chief Madden here, but Steve, could you explain to us the FBI Academy?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is an invitation-only kind of a postgraduate type program for senior-level law enforcement officials. And again, it's you have to be invited. It's not something you just sign up for and you get to go. It was a number of years that the chief wanted to go, and he was finally called upon to attend. So it's a great honor. And this is very, very high-level training. And for a municipality like ours to have a chief that has this level of training, I think is very nice for our community. And as soon as I found out about it, I certainly supported the chief's willingness to participate. I can't wait for him to come back and tell you all the stories and all the things that he's learned about a lot of, the technical issues that go on in hostage-type situations, with terrorist-type situations. You think it would never occur here. You just never know. To other types of, more traditional types of white-collar crime and other types of things, and what, the higher levels in the FBI and law enforcement are doing to combat these types of things. So it's like, as they say, a wonderful opportunity. It's extensive training. That, they're in class all day.
10 weeks?
Yeah, I think it was 10 weeks, and they're even on weekends, and some weekends they have off, other weekends they're there, but it's from Monday through Friday, he's in class all day, and sometimes evening as well. So, I think very worthwhile, and as they say, the first time in the history of the village that we've had a police chief go through this. Well, he was the sitting police chief, so I think it's a big deal.
So you said it was an invitation only, so the FBI or the federal government is paying for his training in this?
The training is being paid for, yes. Yes, now, of course, we're paying, his salary while he's there, but no, all this advanced training and so forth is covered.
Well, look forward to hearing about what he learned from him.
He's with people from like 20 other countries. He's just he'll be going to a leadership training over at Gettysburg as part of it. He has, yeah, it's intense.
Well, I think it's a great honor for the village, and it's just another indication of where the village ranks. We've got the chief graduating from Quantico, and our police department certified Kalia, and it just goes to show you the level of support that the board through the police department has given the village. I mean, I think it's a good idea for someone in the village to be at the graduation, and I'll make a motion to approve the request to go to either the mayor or someone from the village to go to Chief Madden's FBI graduation ceremony.
There's been a motion.
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Grasso?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Scalpa?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Bolus?
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. We had 8C. We have one item removed from the consent agenda. That's approval of Plan Commission recommendation to approve a variation from the zoning ordinance to permit the addition of a rooftop mechanical equipment without the required rooftop screening. This is for Mars Chocolates on 79th Street. We have a resident that would like to address this topic.
Mark Thomas, 7515 Drew. Actually, I was very surprised to go by Mars over the weekend and to see that the crane was in the parking lot and they were lifting the equipment on the roof. During the Plan Commission meeting, they basically were telling us the amount of steel that they were going to have to add in order to add the screening, and how they would have to bolster the roof as well as other engineering considerations, which I find it really strange that they're setting equipment right now, not knowing whether they're going to need screening or not. But more so, the thing that we usually don't get to see is we get to see the equipment up there now before we make a decision. And the equipment is very, very large. It is a white elephant. Originally, I was for the landscaping to try to subdue it somewhat. But after seeing the equipment up there now, I don't think that's going to be sufficient. Plus, the one thing that we didn't consider when we were talking about the landscaping is it is only going to provide cover for 6 months of the year. And we talk about keeping Burr Ridge beautiful, but the fact of the matter is the residents on the south side of 79th Street are going to be looking directly at this and have a very clear shot for 6 months out of the year, even with screening or with the landscaping that they might provide. So I think this should be reopened up for discussion.
So Mark, you said the residents on south of 79th Street would be able to see it. What building is it being put on? Is it right along? Is it right up close to 79th Street?
It's basically, well, it's the building that's at 79th and Madison, basically. There's they have like an office front there that is a very nice looking building, brick building, and these units just tower over that building.
So it's going on that portion of the building, the front portion of the building?
It's not actually on the front portion of the building, it's on the building behind it, but if you looked at it, it appears that the units are right there. I mean, they're very large.
Any idea about footage?
How
How many feet from the nearest house?
Oh, geez, that I
How many yards?
couldn't say. It would probably be.
Oh, Planning Commissioner? Oh. The closest house would be 550 feet? Okay, so, okay.
Which, actually, that even adds a little more to this, because being 550 feet away, even if you put the landscaping in, your field of vision, if you're low, would be blocked. But going further out, those units are going to be standing up quite a bit over the top of any landscaping that might be in place.
Well, thank you. Board members, any questions of Mark Thoma or Planning Commissioner? Trustee Francis?
I have to abstain from any discussions and voting on this matter. Mars Chocolate is a customer of the company I work for, a long-term customer.
Trustee?
Question, Mr. Stratus, what was the?
Mike, could you grab the microphone?
The Plan Commission voted for this, that's why it was on the consent agenda. Could you express what the Plan Commission's main thoughts were on this matter?
Yeah, first of all, this is a over 20-acre parcel, and it's got, I think, a 700,000 square foot building. It's the second largest building in the community. I think we looked at the fact that from the north, from the highway, the building is actually larger or higher than the screening, so it's automatically screened from the highway. I know that Greg Chupek and I both looked at the fact that it was over 450 feet to 79th Street, so it was really set back a long way. The applicant had done view corridor studies from all different angles with distances, and we all felt that the cost of forcing the applicant to adhere to the code was not balanced. It was over $380,000 on a $7 million project, and we felt that the screening, given all these facts, could be achieved through landscape. And so we didn't set, we originally talked about a limitation on landscaping, $50,000, $80,000, and then we agreed unanimously that we're not going to put any cap on it. It could be $200,000, and the applicant was willing to work with us on that, subject to staff's approval of a final landscape plan. But there is, a half a dozen homes across the street. There's
You were the one, by the way, just so people watching this right now, you were the one to answer the question of how many feet it was.
Yes.
So it's 550 feet, which is almost 2 football fields?
Yes, and I'm being conservative. So I have software here, it's called Planometer, and it allows you to measure very accurately distances and acreage and geometric area calculations quickly and easily. And again, I'm looking at it, it's at least 550 feet to the nearest house.
Trustee Grasso?
Mr. Stratus, were there old HVAC or units on top of the building that they are now just being replaced in the same location?
Yes,
And the other ones were not screened because they were grandfathered in, right?
that's correct.
So we're replacing an old piece of equipment with a new piece of equipment in the same place. Is it a lot larger than the other
No,
piece?
it was
It's the
not
same.
It's not materially larger. It's a newer technology. They explained very patiently that there's safety issues with containing this
Ammonia,
particular
whatever, yeah.
solution of
Ventilation.
HVAC, the ammonia. Again, that coupled with the cost, the heroic additions to the infrastructure they'd have to put in, as the resident points out, they would have to do all that in concert with installing the screening. So,
Thank you.
Again, we felt we balanced all these issues. It was not easy. Again, you always, as I said earlier, the precedential value. Why does this guy not have to adhere and others do? But we felt like there was plenty enough rationalization for that. So,
Any other questions of the board members?
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Stratus. Do I have a motions to approve
I'll make a motion to
AC?
approve plan conditions recommendation.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Baveza?
Yes.
Trustee Scapa?
Yes.
Trustee Francis? Trustee Grasso?
Yes.
Trustee Bolus?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. And just historically speaking, how long has Mars been here? No, you have any idea? Longer than you?
Longer than me. So, 30-plus years, so I'm sure.
Well, that's good. Well, we do love Mars. So, okay, we're other considerations for announcement, deliberation, and discussion. No official action will be taken. Any topics they want to decide? Thank you. No one? Okay, the section for residents' comments. Any additional residents who would like to address the board at this time? Seeing no one, reports and communications from village officials. Sorry, did I miss somebody?
Yeah, Dolores is.
A non-resident.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's got her hand
Additional announcements?
Yes, just a couple more concerts coming up. So on August 26th, we have the New Standard Jazz Band. And on September 2nd, the Chicago Experience, and that's sponsored by the SCORE Sports Center. And then we will have our 60th anniversary on the 9th. So we're hoping once again, please come out and join us.
Great, thank you. And anyone else? Now we have the non-residents portion. Dolores?
Good evening. My name is Dolores Caesar, former trustee and former resident. I have a couple comments on the items that you voted on this evening. 8A sounds to me like a tavern with fitness apparel as a sideline. Item 8B, I think the village president should pay half the cost of this trip, or at least 1/3. At the last board meeting, it was brought up about the Tribune article about the emerald ash borer. Now, I think I read the same article as Trustee Grasso, and I think there were some municipalities that were participating in the cost when the trees were on private property. And I would like to suggest to the village that it consider participating on the cost on removal of trees on private property. It could be 1/2, and it would be based on the fair market value of the property. In other words, for example, anything above a $500,000 fair market value, the property owner would pay the entire cost. Below that, I think the village should participate because there's no question that for some people it would be a hardship to remove the tree, especially if they have more than one. Now, I'm sure that most of you saw, I read that Macy's is going to close 100 stores, that they said they were overstored. Well, my husband and I felt for a long time that this country was overstored. It's just one shopping mall, one strip mall after another. However, what the village needs to be thinking about and stop spending money on non-essential stuff, and I can make a pretty long list of what I consider non-essential without even looking at the budget. In any event, I think the rapid increase of internet sales shows you that brick and mortar stores are becoming irrelevant. And municipalities get their sales tax revenue from the brick and mortar businesses. In the next 5 or 10 years, I think that it will be the same situation as the landline telephones. Now, if I lose my landline telephone, I don't like cell phones. I don't have one. But if I lose that, I hear better on a landline, and I think many people do, especially older people. Over the weekend, one of my grandchildren said, "Grandma, what big ears you have."
Better to hear you.
Now, there's only one thing wrong with that story. I don't have grandchildren, but I do have big ears.
I have the article in front of me about the emerald ash borer. I think, Dolores, what you may have been confused about, it refers to two communities, and it says the village will hire its own contractor to do the work for those who don't comply, and then place a lien on the property for that work that they did. So they don't help the homeowners pay for their emerald ash borer.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Roll call?
Trustee Grasso?
Yes.
Trustee Scappa? Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Bolus?
Yes.
Trustee Cahesa?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much for everyone for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful week, evening, and weeks after that. Actually, 3 weeks until next meeting, right?
Correct.
You want to mention the rendezvous?
Oh, okay, actually, would you like to?
No, go ahead.
I don't have it.
Oh, just a quick mention that the I&M Canal Rendezvous is running from September 10th, Saturday, September 10th through Sunday, September 11th, and all are encouraged to attend. It's a great event. I've been there several years in a row. It's wonderful.
And remind me, now, do we have a meeting before the Run the Parks, or the Bike the Parks?
Cut off for the parks,
Pedal the Parks?
I think it's the
I don't think we-
11th.
this Sunday
I think
before.
it's, yeah.
Sunday before. So as a reminder, the Pedal the Parks is Patriots Day, September 11th. I don't know much any details about it, but by all means look it up on our website. That's also a great. Pardon me? Park District website. Okay, thank you again for joining us.